The person who built Claude Code just published a map. 5 levels of AI adoption. From level 0, where your company blocks half the tools, to level 4, where more than 1,000 AI agents run engineering work while one person steers by intent. His name is Boris Cherny. He created Claude Code at Anthropic and he runs it today. And buried in his post is a confession that should make every engineer sit up. Anthropic itself, the company that makes Claude, is on level 3. But Boris says he personally just hit level 4. So, somewhere out there, one engineer is steering 1,000 agents, while most of us are still watching one agent type, line by line. Here is how this video works. The best way I can describe this map is a drone light show at night. One drone is a toy. 1,000 drones is a skyline. Same hardware, a different operator. So we're going to climb all 5 levels like a night flight. And at every level, I'll give you the tell, the one sign you're stuck there, and the exact move that gets you to the next one. By the end, you'll know precisely which level you're on. And the whole map, every level, every tell, every move, is a free PDF. Comment the word fleet and my bot sends it to you. Lights off, fleet up. First, the map itself, because Boris buried the actual secret in one sentence, and almost everyone will scroll past it. He wrote, "At every step, tokens aren't enough," meaning you cannot buy your way up this ladder. A company can 10x its AI budget and stay stuck at level 1 forever. And plenty are doing exactly that right now. Every level up is the same two-part move. You break a bottleneck, and the bottleneck is almost never the model. It's you, your attention, your trust, your process. And you build a guardrail, because what lets you go faster is never courage. It's brakes you actually believe in. Nobody rides downhill fast on broken brakes. Break a bottleneck. Build a guardrail. That is the entire game. 5 times in a row. One more thing before we take off. Boris is explicit that there is no single right path. Every team is different. So this is not a checklist. It's a diagnosis. Level 0. The hangar doors are shut. Level 0. Gated. Agents flying. 0. The whole fleet is in the hangar, and the hangar is locked. Here's what it looks like. And if you work at a big company, this might hurt. The only approved models are the older or lighter ones. You're allowed the toy drone, never the real fleet. Every request crawls through an AI gateway with custom authentication, and the latency compounds until people quietly give up. There's no governance for connecting AI to internal tools. And when someone does build something, there's no approval path to host it. So it lives and dies on one laptop. The tell that you're at level 0. Your best engineers are more productive on their personal accounts at home than on the corporate stack at work. And here is the sharpest observation in the whole table. The bottleneck isn't technology at all. It's a security process built for a different decade. Leadership measuring cost per token instead of outcomes. And his words, a lack of true technical voices in the decision making. The escape from level 0 isn't a hack, it's politics. An executive who owns the outcome. Blockers escalated by name. A framework for launching AI securely instead of debating it forever. And the guardrails that make executives comfortable already exist. Single sign-on with role-based access, org-level budget caps, deployment inside the approvals you already have. Level 0 is a choice, and someone above you is making it. If that's your company, forward them this video. Then, let's meet the first drone. Level 1. Assisted. Agents flying. 1. The hangar opens, a single drone lifts off, and your eyes are glued to it. This is you, plus one agent. Pair programming. And I want to be honest with you, level 1 feels amazing. A change that used to eat an afternoon becomes something you finish between meetings. That's the level 1 unlock, and it's real. But watch what you're actually doing. You run one session at a time. You read almost every line before it merges. And when the agent is working, you sit there, watching. The work is synchronous. You and the machine, taking turns. The tell that you're at level 1. When the agent is working, you don't start anything else. Here's the uncomfortable diagnosis, straight from the man who built the tool. The bottleneck at level 1 is your attention. You don't yet trust the model's output. The model isn't yet verifying its own work. So you feel you must read everything well, and you never look away. One engineer, one agent, one pair of eyes. That's not a fleet, that's a kite on a string. And Boris says he talks to engineers at other companies every single day and hears the same story. One person is 10xing their output, and the rest of the org hasn't caught up. Level 1 is where AI adoption goes to plateau, unless you make the climb. So, how do you get from 1 drone to 10? The map gives an exact recipe. And notice that every single item on it is a trust machine, not a speed machine. First, a self verification loop you actually believe. Tests, build, lint, end to end checks in a real dev environment. The agent runs all of that against its own work before you ever see the diff. This is the whole trick of the entire ladder seal. You stop being the verifier and you become the auditor of a verifier. Second, auto mode for permissions. So the agent isn't freezing every 90 seconds to ask if it may touch a file. With the common safe commands pre approved, so auto never means reckless. Third, automated code review and automated security review on by default. A machine does the first pass, you do the judgment pass, and then, only then, you open a second session, then a third. Each agent on its own isolated copy of the code base, so parallel agents can never collide. Here's your this week move. Pick your most boring recurring task. Write down how an agent could prove the work is done, which tests, which checks. Then let it verify itself before you look, and check the proof instead of the code. Every time the proof holds, your trust goes up 1 notch. That trust is the fuel for everything above level 1. Level 2, parallel. Agents flying, about 10. And the picture changes completely. You're not flying a drone anymore. You're calling a show. One engineer orchestrating 5 to 10 agents at once, each on its own isolated branch of the code base. And you jump between them like a conductor. Every agent checks its own work. Tests, build, lint, security scan before you see it. Auto mode is always on. Automated review is the default. And here is the line in the table that should stop you cold. At level 2, Claude writes most of the code. You review final diffs, not keystrokes. The unlock, a backlog that used to take the team weeks, becomes one engineer's afternoon of orchestration. Think about your own maintenance backlog. The flaky tests, the version bumps, the paper cuts you've been ignoring since winter. At level 2, that pile just starts shrinking. But new level, new bottleneck. You're handwriting less code, and instead you're checking 6 streams of it, and reviewing becomes the job. Prompting, steering, juggling sessions. Your day becomes context switching. The tell that you're at level 2. Your agents are faster than your reviews. The work queues up behind you. You have become the slow part. 10 drones, 1 caller. The sky looks busy, but every flight path still goes through your head. And that ceiling is exactly what the next climb breaks. Before the fleet gets serious, I'm breaking formation for 20 seconds. Look up. Real talk. 90% of you watching haven't subscribed. On Facebook, subscribe is the supporter button. That is what keeps the lights on here. On YouTube, it's free and it tells the algorithm to send you more. Subscribe to support us. Formation restored. Now let's put 100 drones in the air. How do you get from 10 drones to 100? This is the climb where most teams stall because the answer stops being about you. The map lists 4 moves. 1. Give Claude a way to pull in context on its own. Let it read the codebase, the wikis, the design discussions. At level 2, the model fails mostly because it's missing context that lives in your head and it can't reach. Stop being the courier. Open the library. 2. Agency and review speed. At this scale, agents will touch code owned by other teams. So the humans around you have to review fast and grant real permissions. Adoption stops being a solo skill and becomes a property of the org. 3. Break your work into loops and routines. Recurring, repeatable jobs. The fleet runs on a schedule. Instead of one off prompts, you keep retyping. And 4. The strange one. The one that separates level 3 from everything below it. Let Claude kick off Claude. An agent that finds a problem spawns another agent to fix it. The fleet launches its own drones. Sit with that sentence, because on the other side of that door, the question you ask about your own work changes forever. Level 3. Supervised autonomy. Agents flying, about 100. You're not calling one show anymore. You're a manager of managers, running an org tree of agents, leads, workers, reviewers. Claude writes all or nearly all of the code, and the question changes. It stops being, "Did you read the code?" It becomes, "What context was the model missing, and how do we solve it for next time?" Stay on that for a second. That is a different job description. You are no longer inspecting output. You are debugging the system that produces output. The unlock is genuinely beautiful. The fleet proactively does work. You would have had to kick off manually. Maintenance and cleanup that used to wait months for a human to find the time now run continuously in the background. Things break, and the fix is merged before you knew they were broken. But level 3 has a trap, and Boris names it precisely. Scaling agent count before the loop has earned widespread trust. The agent tree is too deep to babysit. So if the verification loop is weak, you are not running a fleet. You are running 100 unsupervised interns. And there's a second bottleneck: cost discipline. At 100 agents, tokens are real money. And the filter question in the table is brutal and perfect. Is this something an engineer would have done? If an engineer wouldn't have spent a day on it, your fleet shouldn't burn a mountain of tokens on it. For calibration, this level, level 3, is where Anthropic itself sits today, the company that makes Claude. So if you're at level 2 right now, you are not behind. You're one trust loop away from the frontier. Level 4, AI native. Agents flying, 1,000 and up. And this sounds like science fiction, right up until you hear who says they're already living there. At level 4, the loop is fully closed. Most agents are kicked off, not by people, by Claude. Work arrives, gets triaged, dispatched, done, verified, merged. You don't steer drones. You don't even steer formations. You steer by intent. You describe the shape you want in the sky. And you monitor by exception, looking only where something deviates from plan. The unlock. The quarter-long migration becomes a workflow you kick off and check on. The kind of project that used to consume a whole team for 3 months. The framework upgrade, the API migration, the security sweep across every repo. Becomes something you start on a Monday and glance at on Thursday. The bottleneck isn't reviewing anymore. It's imagination and governance. Identifying which classes of work to automate at scale and enforcing the right guardrails for each type of work. And in the post announcing this map, Boris ended with a line I have not stopped thinking about since I read it. Quote, "Personally, I just hit level 4. The person who built the tool is steering 1,000 drone sky." This map is not a prediction. It's a trip report. Now, before you screenshot this and sprint to your boss, 2 honest things, because this is exactly where the hype videos roll credits. First, how do you measure any of this? Boris's answer surprised me. Don't measure usage. A dashboard full of token counts measures activity, not return. The question that matters is, would you have spent engineering effort on this anyway? If yes, how many engineer hours and what would they have cost? That is your return. It either justifies the tokens or it doesn't. Second, the levels are not a race, and skipping is how you crash. Every level exists to earn the trust that the next level spends. Jump from 1 agent to 100 without the verification loop, and you don't get Anthropic's level 3. you get a 1,000 drone show with no air traffic control over a crowd. The real lesson of the map is sequencing. Break this level's bottleneck. Build this level's guardrail. Then, and only then, climb. So, which level are you actually on? Here's the whole video on one screen. Screenshot this. Level 0 gated. The tools you want are blocked. Your move is an executive sponsor and a security framework, not another demo. Level 1 assisted. One agent and you read everything. Your move is a self verification loop. Tests, build, lint, plus auto mode with save commands pre approved. Level 2 parallel. About 10 agents on isolated branches and you review diffs. Your move is context, loops, and routines, and letting Claude kick off Claude. Level 3 supervised autonomy. About 100 agents in an org tree and you debug missing context. Your move is automating whole domains of work, migrations, fuzzing, feature building with guardrails per type. Level 4 AI native. 1,000 plus. Steering by intent, monitoring by exception. That's where the creator of Claude Code says he lives now, and where Anthropic is pushing next. Now type your level in the comments. Just the number 0 to 4. I'll go first. I'm at 2 on a good day, pushing 3. My agents verify their own work, but I still kick almost everything off myself. Your number tells every engineer who reads the comments where the real world actually is, not where the keynotes say it is. Here's your flight kit for the climb. The AI adoption flight map. All 5 levels, every tell, every this week move, the guardrail checklist, and the ROI question on one clean PDF, completely free. Comment the word fleet on this video and my bot sends it straight to you, or grab the link in the description. If you want to go past the map, my paid beginner guides for Claude Code, for Codex, for selling with AI at work, and the Claude Architect certification prep are all linked below. They take you from your first prompt to your first working system. If this map earned it, subscribe here on YouTube. And if these deep dives are worth real support, have a look at the membership. On Facebook, that's the supporter button. And the builds behind these videos live on Instagram at Hyperautomation Labs. Last thing before the lights come up. Don't let this be another video you watched. Tonight, name your level. Then, make your levels one move. That's it. Because the sky is already changing. The only question left is whether you're flying one drone or calling the show. See you in the next one.